tell us your version of events.
Yes. Let me first say this. I was unaware that that was the chief's house. If I had any inclination, that we would have never knocked that door. We had put out a notice on Facebook in the West Valley looking for a suspect. And you can target certain areas. It's called a boost on Facebook. And we had gotten a tip at 7 o'clock of an address. The tip came from an Oklahoma phone number. The suspect that they were looking for is out of Oklahoma. I had texted back and forth a couple times. They wanted to remain anonymous. I called a couple people and said, I've got this tip. What do you want to do? Well, let's get everybody together and let's go out there. I looked up on the Maricopa's website who the owner of the house was. I live in Mesa. I don't pay attention to Phoenix information, who the chief is. I don't know. The name Joseph Yahner is what I saw. And I sent a text to everybody that this is the owner's name, but I didn't make the call. We told the gentleman that the Phoenix police was called. He says, I seriously doubt that. A lady that was with him, he told it to call, and the police showed up. I didn't feel like I did anything wrong.
Mr. Farley, were you reckless, though? Because from what the state says is they have no registration from you that you're a bounty hunter and that you're a convicted felon and shouldn't have a gun in the first place.
Okay. On the first point, I do not have a license as a bounty hunter in Arizona. However, other people that were on scene do, and if a suspect was there and an arrest was made, it would be done by somebody who is licensed, not me.
Then why do it? You're not licensed. You can't make an arrest.
The reason, hold on, let me go back to your second question was?
The felony conviction,
Yes.
the Class 6 felony conviction, and having a firearm.
Okay. You are incorrect to say that I'm a convicted felon. In the state of Arizona, they do not expunge, they set aside. Okay, I have paperwork at home that shows that the theft charge was set aside and my rights being restored, giving me the opportunity to vote and carry a
What
firearm.
about the sex with a minor felony?
My understanding, that's a misdemeanor.
It says it's a Class 6 felony according to these court documents.
That's, man, from what year is that? And I'm not going to play ignorant with you. What year is it?
It goes from 1992, but the case goes all the way to 2009 when you requested that the charges be dismissed, but that was denied.
Yes.
And it was denied, and it says it does not give you a right to have a firearm.
I've got, like I said again, I had the paperwork at home. Okay, that clearly shows. I think it was somewhere on my birthday. It's stamped. It comes from Maricopa County Superior Court. That gives me permission to, or the opportunity to vote and to carry a firearm.
So are you the owner of North Star Fugitive Recovery then?
Yes.
You are the owner, but you are not registered.
Correct. And again, anybody that would make an arrest is licensed through the Department of Insurance. Your question, the reason why. My background has been in skip tracing and finding people. I'm using a talent that I have to find people and it goes back to collecting money, repossessing cars, to the point now to where we can find somebody and have a licensed fugitive recovery agent make the arrest.
From my understanding, the business isn't licensed with the state either, your business. Should it be? Are you operating outside the law?
I don't believe so, no.
Back to that night, when exactly did you realize it was the chief of police house, and what was your first action or reaction?
Jeremiah was speaking to him, and they were having a conversation. I was standing back off of on the sidewalk. Because I looked up his name before I left the house, I Googled his name.
Yeah, good point.
And because when I Googled his name, the first thing that came up was pictures of the chief of police. And then I realized the gravity of what had happened. The other point is this. There's been many times doors have been knocked, and the suspect doesn't live there. It's an old address. This isn't something that is rare. It happens. The rare part comes on who answered the door.
But let's talk about the intensity. Like, there was screaming outside even before he came to the door. I mean, there was, you know, talking to, I think, one of the gentlemen that was part of your team last night. 3 guys were in the back, 3 were in the front. Is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, is it typically that tense when you are just doing a quick door knock to just verify?
Because of the amount of the bond, no, that would be typical.
Were you guys surveying the house before? Because according to police, they said that you guys were at the house for about 2 hours before and didn't see anyone matching the description of the fugitive you were after.
There was not anybody sent there in a surveillance mode because we come from all different parts of the valley. I'm sure some people got there before others.
Mr. Farley, one of the questions I'm sure a lot of people have is, why was your daughter with you?
She was with us. She was down the street a ways away, a couple blocks away. She was safe. She wouldn't be, if a suspect was caught, she wouldn't be around him. She was in no danger.
So she didn't have a toy gun in front of the house?
No, not at all.
Is this something you usually do, bring your daughter to these type of events?
What has happened in the past is they would stay in the truck away and stay in radio contact with the agents to make sure that they were safe.
Do you think it's appropriate, given that you guys were after someone, a supposed dangerous person?
At no time was she in any danger. Again, she was a couple blocks away. She was safe.
So do you think it was appropriate to have her there?
I don't think it was not appropriate.
There is a case very similar to this that happened in 1997 where bail bondsman hit the wrong house, 2 people died. If an 11-year-old child is there, is that an appropriate situation? If something like that were to have happened, I mean, you don't know how things could have turned out.
Again, she was in the neighborhood, but she wasn't in any danger. There was no. There were block walls, and there's no danger that she was going to be in.
Mr. Farley, now that you've had a couple days, though, to think about it, do you think about how this could have turned south real fast?
It would be no different than any other door knock.
Would you have done anything differently?
Yeah.
What would you have done differently?
I would have spent more time finding out who the owner of the house was.
Should you have Googled the name before? I mean, in this day and age, you know, people Google names before they go out on dates. Should you have just, you know, Googled the owner of the house, and it would have pretty quickly gotten rid of that door knock?
Sir, quite honestly, I'm sitting in jail. There's probably a lot that I should have done. I mean, I can go back and second guess myself, but it's just not me that said this is what we're doing. There's another person that's in charge of the whole door knock, to where I'm giving him the information. This is what I have, and so I'm not going to skirt my responsibility whatsoever. The problem that I have is this: I was accused or investigated for aggravated assault. I was taken down to downtown Phoenix. My bond originally was $650. My bond now is $2,500 cash. I can give you and I'm sure you guys know more about me than I know about me. Criminal trespass. I was asked once to leave, and I left. Disorderly conduct. My bond should have been $650. That's what the crime says. It's not what I did that is the problem. And it's not what I did that has you guys here today. It's not what I did that has me incarcerated right now. It's who was involved. If the chief of police was not the one who answered the door, none of this would ever come to light. My bond's $2,500, not because of what I did, but because who answered the door.
Why are you the only one behind bars?
You would have to ask the Phoenix Police that. That is a question that I have.
Are the other people you were with licensed?
Yes. But my charges have nothing to do with licensing.
I understand.
And
We're-
Mr. Farley, I think just to get back to this, this is a very simple fingerprint background check registration. Why did you never register?
The reason why I never registered is if you read on the form right there, it says if it was set aside, a felon was set aside, that you would not be registered.
So you knew you were operating outside the law.
No. The reason being, anytime an arrest has been made by a licensed fugitive recovery agent.
Mr. Farley, explain, how are you feeling right now?
Wow. I miss my family. Again, let me say this. I do not want to lighten anything that's created this. Okay, I'm not licensed. I don't make arrests. The people that have made arrests are licensed. They have to be. I'm frustrated. I'm confused. The charges that I'm being charged with has nothing to do with what happened that night.
Do you hire the people who make the arrests? I mean, it's your business. Do you hire? Are you in charge of the knock, for lack of a better way to put it?
We do hire, but they're a team. There's not one person that says this is what we're doing. They're a team.
What do you think about Phoenix PD calling this, you were treating this like a game? That's what they said, with people filming, you have a child, you got family out there. What do you think about them saying that?
I believe they're misinformed. It's not a game. The reason why somebody was filming is for documentation. Quite honestly, that video is one reason why I'm not being charged with aggravated assault.
If you say you're not a felon,
Yes.
and your rights have been restored,
Yes.
then why aren't you doing this business legitimately? Why aren't you licensed? Why?
I've already covered that with a question that she asked me.
What do you think about them saying that you guys didn't do enough due diligence?
Let me go back to one thing. Again, that my daughter was not in any harm. To me, it's not even a point. One reason why, if you want to call it due diligence or more time was not put into it, has to do with the amount of time that's left before the bondsman has to pay the bond. I believe it was I'm guessing it was like 12 days. So time was getting down to where when we had a lead, we need to move on it.
Do you feel that you should have done more?
It's the same thing. What could I have done more? I'm sitting in jail right now.
Let's talk about the number, the person you were texting back and forth. Are you working with PD, or are your guys investigating who that person was, trying to? Did they ever give you a name, or did you ever talk to them?
What made that tip legitimate was the wanted person was out of Oklahoma, and the person that gave us the tip, the number it comes from Oklahoma.
Could it have been the person that you were looking for himself setting you up?
It could have been Santa Claus at this point.
Are you working and trying to figure out who that person was?
Ma'am, I'm a.
But you have a whole team, you said. Are they working on it?
Okay.
I know you're here, but
I have been incarcerated since Sunday night, and I spoke to my wife this afternoon for the first time. I don't have access to talk to anybody. Other point, I don't have my phone. I don't have phone numbers. What I'm able to do right now is nothing.
How long have you been operating North Star Fugitive Recovery?
Probably about 5 months, 6 months.
What were you doing previous?
Looking for people, skips racing.
How many people have you caught once since you've opened your business?
That could be a trick question. I'm not licensed. I haven't caught anybody.
How many people is your company responsible for arresting?
I don't have documents in front of me, so understand that.
Ballpark.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. Is there anything you want to tell the chief of police?
I apologize. When we knocked his door, sitting here was nowhere in my thought of doing anything wrong, or, you know. So I apologize.
Anything you want to tell your family? Because I know you haven't been able to talk to them.
I love them. I'm embarrassed when I found out that you guys had ran the story. I was embarrassed. I don't want to embarrass my family. I don't want to be on the news and, you know, have to answer questions and sit here. And my wife, we've been married 21 years. I married a good woman. You know, we have 2 great kids, and right now all 3 of them are going through hell. You know.
When you get out, are you going to keep the business running and keep going after people?
I'm done. I will give anything over to the team if they want to continue. But I'm done.
What are you going to do?
What am I going to do?
You're done, so what's next for you after this?
I don't know. Maybe I'll become a news reporter. I'm a felon, remember? That's not going to work.
So, we all make mistakes. You think you might get off on all of this stuff? Why are you quitting now?
There's a price that's paid with our decisions. You guys, what I've gone through, and I'm not looking for poor me. That's not the way. If I make a mistake, I'll take it on the chin. Going through this process here, it has not been easy on me, on my family. I will not put myself in this same situation again and have it be the chief of the fire department that we're. I've paid the price, and I'll still pay the price. I anticipate getting off the 2 charges. I think they're bogus. I think there's a question that needs to be asked on why nobody else was charged. There are more people there doing the same thing, but only one person was charged.
Were you personally more aggressive than anyone else? Yelling up in the chief's face? Did you cross
No.
the threshold of his doorway?
No. When the chief opened the door, he was aggressive. I backed off. In fact, I ran into the guy that was next to me trying to back off to get away. The last thing I want is any type of confrontation with somebody who's not the person that's being looked for. So.
Do you think, you know, Arizona has pretty loose laws when it comes to bounty hunters and licensing and registration. Do you think that there should be training and some type of schooling in order to become a bounty hunter?
If you're asking my opinion, if you look at other states and their requirements for fugitive recovery work, Arizona is very laxed. So.
Do you think there should be more regulation?
100%.
What would you like to see done as far as regulation? What loopholes are you seeing that need to be fixed?
If you have $10 to get your fingerprints and $22 to give the Department of Insurance, you're a licensed bounty hunter in the state of Arizona. That's it. No firearms, no investigative, no don't knock the chief's door advice. Nothing.
What do you think this whole incident says or does for your industry?
It hurts it. But again, not part of the process is knocking doors. And there's times when the person's not there. There's times when they haven't been there for a couple of years. You know, the information you have is bad. Again, the reason why I'm in jail right now and the reason why you guys are here interviewing me isn't because of the door we knocked. It's who answered it.
So just to be clear, the Phoenix Police Department believes that you are a convicted felon, and you would like to, what would you say to them?
I've got the piece of paper at home. It's in the box in my bedroom. That clearly gives me permission to have a weapon and to vote. It stems from a case after that one right there. It comes from the Maricopa County Superior Court. And if they need a copy of it, I'm sure I can get somebody in my house to provide it to them.
When do you think you'll be out?
Well, my bond's $2,500 cash when it originally was $650. So I guess it boils down to when my family comes up with $2,500. On 2 misdemeanor charges. Watch this. I'm sitting in a cell with 30 other guys. The guy sitting next to me, his charge is assault. Not knocking the police door, but assault. He beat somebody up. You know what his bond amount is? $2,500. I have 2 misdemeanors. Again, it goes back to not what I did. It goes back to who answered the door. I think that's wrong. Yes, the chief of police is important. He plays a huge role in the city of Phoenix and in our state, and I respect that. But he should be no different on my bond than if I knocked your door.
Do you feel like there should be some sort of understanding? Because, I mean, they do research all the time. They hit houses all the time. They should know, PD should know what you guys are going through.
Has the Phoenix Police Department ever knocked a door and somebody not have been there? Or has the Phoenix Police ever acted on wrong information? It's what happens. But I'll say it again. It's not what we did that has brought us together today. It's who answered the door.
Do you think there's frustration from the police over, I guess, the lack of training? Because you say when they knock a door, they get it wrong sometimes, but they have a lot of training
Yes.
to defuse a situation. You just mentioned there's no training. You just go out. Do you think there's some frustration from the police toward maybe that bounty hunters are vigilantes or some such thing?
If you're asking my opinion, the Phoenix Police Department is very influential. It's the capital of our state. If they were frustrated, my thought is that they would lobby the state legislators to change that. That hasn't happened, though, as far as I'm concerned, or from what I know. So if you're asking my opinion, based on the fact that I don't know of any action on their part to create more laws or to change up how the licensing is granted, no, they're not frustrated. If they were, they'd want to change it.
Mr. Farley, and you've talked about this, but I really want you to get to the heart of why you did what you did. You're a convicted felon.
No, ma'am, I'm not.
You are a convicted felon according to court paperwork. You aren't registered with the state. What business do you have running a bounty hunting business? What business do you have doing that?
Again, the people that make the arrests are licensed.
But what business do you have running this business? Going to a door with a gun, which you did in the video. What business do you have doing that?
So, what business do I have doing that? I was unaware. I did not know that it was against the law. If I did, it would not be something I would be doing. Again, if an arrest was made, it would be made by somebody that has qualified under the Department of Insurance rules to make an arrest. I wasn't there to make an arrest.
How do you draw that line? You're there with a gun. If the guy runs toward you and you tackle him and hold a gun to his head, or however the rest goes down, did you not make the arrest?
No, there were 2 people that were right there with me that are both licensed. I would not make the arrest.
Do the rules specify that a licensed bounty hunter can have unlicensed people with them to assist? I was under the impression from reading the law that everybody assisting in the hunt has to be licensed.
A lot of the industry is dealing with people who are not licensed and getting tips and working to find the suspect. What would be any different with me? Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying, but there's a big difference between reaching out to someone saying, "Hey, did you see Joe?" and actually being the one leading that search.
I wasn't leading the search. The one that was leading the search was Greg. It's his case. I wasn't leading the search.
You own the business, though.
Yes, I own the business. Greg reached out to us, and I reached out to Greg because he needed a team. And I told him, I have a team. I didn't say that I am the team. I have a team of licensed agents.
I guess the heart of what we're getting at is, should you ever have been at someone's door with a gun, knocking on their door?
Not the chief of police, no.
Or
Is it your
anybody.
standard protocol to go in the dead of night with a lethal weapon, or could you do this in the daytime?
There's not a standard protocol. There's the common sense that when the tip comes in, to act on it. And the tip specifically said that he was only going to be at that house for the next couple of hours.
And you stayed outside the house for 2 hours, I believe, before you launched.
That's incorrect. We've already covered that.
Sorry, I missed that part, so my apologies. But did you bother talking to anyone in the neighborhood or speaking to other people before confronting the situation?
The other agents, the licensed agents, got there before I did because we came from different parts of the community. They sat on the house. I'm not really sure what they did because I'm here.
And how often do you go personally along with every one of these scenarios?
It depends on where it's at, and it's not a common practice that I have to be there. They've gone out and done surveillance and knocked doors, and the main reason why I was there on this one was because the size of the guy and the amount of the bond. I was basically a body, one more body.
How many different messages did you get from that number from Oklahoma? Was it, how long did you talk to that person? Other than the fact that the number was from Oklahoma, where the suspect was from, was there anything else that made you feel confident in this tip?
It was from Oklahoma. Let me answer your first question. As soon as the tip came in, I tried to call. And the text, I said, thank you, then I tried to call. The text came back, sorry, can't talk. Okay. They said that the person that dropped them off let the person in Oklahoma know, and they want to remain anonymous. So the person from the Valley did not want their phone number coming up to us. That's why they came from Oklahoma. That made sense. After the door was knocked and I Googled and realized whose house we were at, another text came through, did you get him? No. It's the chief of police for the city of Phoenix. Oh, the person sent us 2 more tips. They were still trying to, there's a $3,500 reward. Did we get set up? It's possible.
What were the other tips that they sent you after that?
The next one was that the suspect was around, let me back up. Before we knocked the door, I sent another text, is he still there? And they came back and said the person that dropped him off has not picked him up yet. So they gave me the address. They're from Oklahoma. Before we knocked the door, they're telling me that he hasn't been picked up yet. To me, it sounds like he's there, or at least the door needs to be knocked.
What were the other 2 text messages that you got after?
It said that the suspect may be at I-17 in a hotel. And then at this point, I had nothing else to say to them. Mm-hmm. Then the next tip was I-17 and Indian School.
I've never been to the chief's neighborhood, but I would assume he lives in a fairly decent neighborhood, and the person you're looking for is probably somebody who, I'm just making an assumption based on that you were looking for someone wanted for a crime, who was evading bail, is probably someone who wouldn't be normally found in a nice neighborhood. Did you have any whistles going off in your head like, these things aren't adding up, this neighborhood's too nice for the person we're looking for?
So you're saying that people live in nice neighborhoods don't commit crimes?
Not at all. I'm saying people who skip bail, generally speaking, are in neighborhoods that aren't as nice. And I'm not saying that, I don't know who you were looking for. I don't know exactly anything about that person other than you were looking for someone who was skipping bail.
Okay.
And again, I don't know what the chief's house looks like. I've never been there, but I would assume it's a nicer neighborhood.
The house that is listed on the bond paperwork is in Youngtown. It's a beautiful neighborhood. It's a beautiful house. It's a 2-story house.
Okay, so the answer is no.
So your assumption's incorrect.
That's why I was asking. Okay.
What official, like, what is your title with your job? You're not, you wouldn't consider yourself a bounty hunter, would you, or would you?
No.
What would you consider yourself?
An account manager.
Account manager?
Yeah.
For a bounty hunting firm, or?
Correct.
Okay.
What is your relationship with the Delta One Tactical Recovery Group?
You got that off of Greg's Facebook page.
No, this is from police. Police are saying that you guys worked with Delta One. Did you guys?
The only time that I saw the Delta One task force, we went on a case with Greg out in the East Valley and repossessed 2 vehicles. At the end of the day, Greg posted something on Facebook that with the help of his Delta One, that's something that he came up with.
So they weren't involved in this one specifically with the police chief?
I don't even know who they are, to be honest. It's not something that I don't have a Delta One. I'm telling you, the only time that we have been referred to that is the situation I just described. That's there is no Delta One. It's not unless they're not us.
Is there anything else you want to add as far as what you want the public to hear?
I've lived my life since getting the last piece of paper from the courts saying that the conviction was set aside. I have that paper. It's stamped from the Superior Court telling me that I can possess a weapon. I submitted the paperwork to the court requesting that to be done, just like I did on that one right there. The Arizona Revised Statutes doesn't allow that one to be dismissed or set aside. When I get a piece of paper saying you have permission to vote and you have permission to carry a weapon, and it comes from the court, that's what I'm going to believe. And I will tell you that I'm not a felon because I have the piece of paper from the court saying so. I was under the impression that was a misdemeanor. That goes back a long time ago. So, I at no time have I thought that I was a felon. If I knew that the chief lived in that house, we would have never knocked the door. It doesn't make sense. Who in their right mind, and I believe I'm in my right mind, as far as and everybody else, would go to the chief of Phoenix Police's house and knock on a door?
What is your biggest fear right now?
You. I don't have any fear. Fear of what? I mean,
Maybe spending a large quantity of time in jail? That does
on
not-
2 misdemeanors
You are in jail right now, though.
with a $2,500 bond. When that's paid, I get to go home.
So no fear from you that you're going to stay any longer here?
No, I don't have. I mean, do I want to stay here? No. Do I want to go home? 110%. Do I want to give my wife a hug and my kids a hug? Yeah, I do. I don't have a fear.
So right now in the eyes of the public, and certainly in the eyes of Phoenix PD, you're kind of this rogue bounty hunter operating outside the lines. Do you feel misunderstood?
Well, yes, 100%. The guys that are licensed, they're good guys, and they're good at what they do.
How many people were there last night?
Sunday night?
Yeah, Sunday night, sorry. PD saying 11.
I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9.
9.
And that's including my wife and my daughter, who were in a vehicle around the corner. And their role, and I've said this, the thought is if our team goes in and they are in trouble. They don't have time to call 911. They do carry radios. The thought is that they could let my wife know who's away from the scene and safe. My wife, her role is to make sure that everybody's okay. Okay, she doesn't want to be a bounty hunter. She doesn't want, it doesn't excite her. It's not something she wants to do. My wife and daughter sat around the corner, safe. There's no rogue in anything that happened. I'll say it one more time. It's not what we did that has brought us together. It's who answered the door. Because I promise you, if your door was knocked, it would not have gone down the way that it did. The chief came out very aggressive. And I think that has a lot to do with how everything was handled. I'm not blaming him. All right, it's 9:30 at night. I get it. But I think he may have, maybe he doesn't have any regrets. He didn't go to jail. Again, I came down here on looking at aggravated assault.
Whose cell phone video is that? Who was shooting out there?
I believe it's Greg's girlfriend or wife, his significant other.
What's Greg's name?
Turner.
Turner.
And he works with you?
Greg Turner has his own business. And he had posted, I believe on Facebook, that he was looking for a team. He has work, he just needs a team.
What's his business called?
I don't know. And I told him I have a team.
So was it him who found this bounty?
Who found the case?
Yeah.
It's his case.
Okay. You said that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's one reason why when all the focus was put on me, I'm a part. I'm not the part. I mean, you guys have made me the focus. But it's Greg's case. I don't even know who the bondsman is. I've read over the paperwork. Everybody on our team had a chance to view it and know that it's legitimate. But this is, and I'm not putting anything on Greg. It's just I'm just letting you know. I don't have any paperwork. Greg has the paperwork. It's his case.
Why did you decide to come out and talk to her today? Did your wife tell you what was going on when you talked to her?
I've spoken with my wife for about 3 minutes in the last 4 days, or 3 days, wherever I'm at. She told me that it was all over the news. When I was classified, the lady told me, oh, you're all over the news. One of the detention officers, what's your last name? Farley. Oh, you're all over the news. Something happens when the police investigate their own. I don't think I would get a fair shake. When the chief says he pointed a gun at me, and I say, no, I didn't. What grounds do I have to stand on?
You feel like you're being made an example of?
100%. And you guys, aggravated assault is what I was told I was being charged with when I was coming down here. I don't know what class of a felony that is, but it's a felony. I'm in jail, not for knocking the door, not for pointing a gun at anybody. Criminal trespass. He told me to get off his property one time, and I went over and I stood on the sidewalk. Disorderly conduct. Honestly, those 2 charges have brought all of you out? There's guys sitting in this jail right now for much more heinous crimes, and you're not talking to them. Because again, it's not what we did or the door we knocked, it's who answered it. Is that right? I don't think it is. Is that the reality I'm facing? 100%.
Anything else, Mr. Farley?
Unless you have anything else.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Can we shoot your document, do you mind?
Okay.
Mr. Farley, we've heard the version of
Hi, Trey Hayden.
Hello.
You're catching the tail end of that.
Yeah, that was dumb on a bunch of different levels.
Do you think you should have done the interview?
A follower of ours.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, he's always commenting on my stuff.
You know him, kind of.
I know. Well, yeah, I totally recognize the name. When they brought the name up, I'm like, oh yeah, he's the Facebook guy. Pretty conservative. No, to take a tip off of Facebook and go in there with all your guys.
Right.
So that's weird to begin with because anybody could have thrown that tip out there.
Right.
I mean, wouldn't you do a little research? I mean, it's pretty easy, isn't it, to do like a reverse directory and find out that
He
it's
explains
Joe
that-
Yahner?
Yeah.
I forgot that.
That
I mean, I didn't see the whole thing.
he explains how they did, but then someone
What?
talked him out of it or something.
Well,
Anyway.
that's why he is where he is. But if he's telling the truth and saying that he didn't point a gun, he's like, well, who they're going to believe, me or this other guy? Well, if there are 10 other people there and you bring everybody in and 10 people are saying, no, Brent never pulled a gun on the chief, and only the chief is saying he pulled a gun, I don't think you get convicted.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if he's the chief of police.
Right.
And also there's video. Isn't there video?
Yeah, they were he was talking about some documentary or something that they were shooting.
I don't know. And then his 11-year-old daughter was along for the ride, and they've got guns and things. I think he's got some issues. But I will say, it's odd to me that he's been in jail now for, 4 days or 5 days?
Right.
On 2 misdemeanor counts? I mean, he goes to jail on misdemeanors.
People go
Do
to
you?
jail. Yeah.
On a misdemeanor charge?
I think you still have to post bond, though.
I guess.
I think so.
I don't know. That seems weird
Anyways.
for a misdemeanor. I mean, because the maximum you get on a misdemeanor, I think, is a year in jail.
Right.
That's the maximum, the very worst thing that can happen. And they're keeping him in jail for 5 days?
Talk to Sheriff Joe. He's your boy.
Nah, Sheriff Joe doesn't have anything to do with that. That's the judge.
He was
in the
wearing the
case.
Sheriff Joe socks.
Well, he's
the pink socks. He's at Sheriff Joe's jail.
right. Once the judge says you need to stay in jail, the sheriff handles it. But
Right.
the sheriff doesn't. He'll arrest people and put them there, but then it's up to the judge to decide how long they stay there.
Right.
On what charges and things like that. Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Billy Z cruising. Wow, Troy's on fire tonight. You
Am
go,
I really?
Troy. I guess. So.
Yeah. No. I mean, just I don't know. I there's a lot of holes in this story, and it seems like a pretty sloppy job of figuring out that you've got a felon in this house.
Right.
And how many people, what I will say is, how many times has this happened before? Because Brent's acting like, oh, if I would have gone to anybody else's house and gone to the door and, come out, it sounds like they do this every once in a while and nobody's there. And is that okay?
Well, he's not licensed, and that was the whole discussion in here as well.
But even if he was licensed, to have 11 guys come to the wrong house and bang on a door, and, that'll freak
Startling?
people out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't like this was in, like some crack house somewhere. This is a nice neighborhood.
And it's the chief of police that lives
Yeah,
there.
I mean, so you think you do a little research, but that's out of my realm. I've gone to wrong houses as a reporter, but I don't go with a gun, and I go like,
And with a smile. And it's
Fox
not
10
9:30
News.
at night
yeah,
because you're preparing for your show.
get out of here, get on the ground. No, it's like police officers, and I've said it before. I don't, that can't be fun. Doing
That job.
No.
Seems intense.
Yeah, maybe you're into the intensity.
People are into different things.
Yeah.
Well,
Why am I here?
you're here not to talk about the bounty hunter, although I
okay.
appreciate your take on it.
Yeah.
We're here